In the 13th century, a physician named Hildegard of Bingen, the same abbess we met in the lemon balm video, wrote something that stopped modern gastroenterologists cold when they read it. She described the digestive system as having two centers of intelligence. The first in the brain, the second in the stomach. She called the stomach the second brain of the body and wrote that its health directly governed mood, mental clarity, and emotional resilience. Modern neuroscience has a name for this: the gut-brain axis, the bidirectional communication highway between the enteric nervous system in your gut and the central nervous system in your brain. It was formally described in scientific literature in the 1990s. Hildegard wrote about it in 1150, 840 years earlier. And her prescription for maintaining this second brain, her specific protocol for what she called restoring the vigor of the digestive fire, maps almost exactly onto what gastroenterologists now call the optimal gut health protocol. This video is about that protocol. To understand the medieval gut protocol, we need to understand how medieval healers thought about digestion. Because their framework, while expressed in different language, was remarkably sophisticated. Medieval medicine followed the theory of the four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. The digestive system was considered the seat of these humors. A balanced gut meant balanced humors, meant a healthy person. An imbalanced gut was considered the root cause of most disease. This sounds primitive, but strip away the vocabulary, and what you have is a systems-level understanding of the gut as the center of human health, which is precisely what modern medicine is now concluding. The Human Microbiome Project, completed in 2012, found that the gut contains over 100 trillion microorganisms, more than 10 times the number of cells in the entire human body. These microorganisms regulate immune function, produce neurotransmitters, including serotonin and dopamine, synthesize vitamins, and communicate directly with the brain. Medieval healers didn't know about microorganisms, but they observed the outcomes of gut imbalance, depression, inflammation, fatigue, skin problems, poor immunity, and they built a protocol around correcting it. Their protocol had 4 pillars: fermented foods daily, specific digestive herbs before and after meals, structured meal timing with fasting intervals, and the elimination of what they called corrupt foods, which maps almost exactly onto what modern nutrition calls ultra-processed foods. 4 pillars, all validated. Let's go through each one. Pillar 1, fermented foods. And this is where the medieval gut protocol gets remarkable. Fermentation is one of humanity's oldest food technologies, dating back over 8,000 years. Medieval monasteries were centers of fermentation expertise. Every monastery produced its own fermented foods: kvass from bread, kefir from milk, fermented vegetables, aged cheeses, and of course fermented ale. These weren't luxuries. They were dietary staples consumed daily. And medieval physicians prescribed them explicitly for digestive complaints, bloating, sluggish digestion, what they called a cold and damp stomach. Modern research has now explained exactly why they worked. Fermented foods deliver live beneficial microorganisms directly to the gut, what we now call probiotics. They also produce short-chain fatty acids during fermentation that feed the gut lining and reduce inflammation. The data is extraordinary. A 2024 study of nearly 10,000 volunteers found that eating 3 portions of fermented foods daily for just 3 weeks produced significant improvements. 47% of participants reported better mood, 55% had more energy, and 42% experienced reduced bloating. The medieval prescription was 3 portions daily. The modern clinical trial used 3 portions daily. The outcomes matched. Medieval fermented foods and their modern equivalents. Kvass is effectively a probiotic grain drink equivalent to modern kefir or kombucha. Monastery cheese is aged fermented dairy equivalent to modern aged cheese or yogurt. Fermented vegetables like turnip and cabbage equivalent to modern sauerkraut and kimchi. The gut cannot tell the difference between a medieval monk's kvass and a modern bottle of kombucha. It simply recognizes beneficial microorganisms arriving. Pillar 2. Digestive herbs. And this is where medieval pharmacology becomes genuinely impressive. Every monastery maintained what was called a hortus conclusus, an enclosed garden specifically for medicinal and culinary herbs. The most consistent entries in monastic records for digestive complaints were 2 herbs that modern gastroenterology has since validated in clinical trials. First, fennel. Foeniculum vulgare. Fennel was prescribed before meals to prepare the stomach's fire and after meals to prevent bloating and cramping. Medieval texts describe it as essential for anyone with a cold digestion, what we now recognize as low stomach acid or sluggish gut motility. The mechanism. Fennel contains a compound called anethol that relaxes smooth muscle in the digestive tract, reduces intestinal spasm, and has direct antimicrobial activity against gut pathogens. A 2014 randomized controlled trial found fennel significantly reduced infant colic, one of the most difficult digestive complaints to treat. Multiple studies have confirmed its antispasmodic effects in adults. Second, artichoke leaf. Cinera scolimus. Artichoke leaf is perhaps the most underappreciated herb in medieval pharmacology. Medieval physicians prescribed it specifically for heaviness after eating and bitter rising in the throat, textbook descriptions of sluggish bile production and acid reflux. We now know why. Artichoke leaf stimulates bile production in the liver and improves bile flow into the digestive tract. Bile is essential for fat digestion and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Without adequate bile flow, digestion slows, fats are not properly absorbed, and the gut becomes inflamed. A 2016 systematic review of 6 clinical trials found artichoke leaf extract significantly reduced symptoms of functional dyspepsia in over 70% of participants. Better than placebo. Better than some pharmaceutical interventions. Medieval healers prescribed fennel and artichoke together as a pre-meal and post-meal protocol. Modern gastroenterology is now recommending the same combination under different names. Pillar 3. Meal timing. And this connects directly to what we covered in the sleep video. Benedictine monasteries followed strict meal timing, 2 cooked meals per day, taken at fixed times, with a significant fasting interval overnight and often a shorter fast during the day. No snacking. No eating after compline at 7 in the evening. Modern research on time-restricted eating has confirmed that eating within a defined daily window, typically 8 to 10 hours, gives the gut microbiome the rest it needs to repair and regenerate. The gut lining replaces itself every 3 to 5 days, but only if it has adequate fasting time to do so. Continuous eating, grazing throughout the day, disrupts this repair cycle. The medieval schedule of 2 fixed meals with clear fasting intervals was accidentally optimal for gut repair. Pillar 4. Food quality. Medieval monasteries grew most of their own food unprocessed, unrefined, seasonally varied. Modern nutritional science has a term for what this produces: high dietary diversity. A 2024 meta-analysis found that high dietary diversity, eating a wide variety of whole foods, is the single strongest predictor of gut microbiome health. More than any specific probiotic, more than any supplement, simply eating a wide variety of real, unprocessed foods. Medieval monks ate 40 to 60 different plant foods per week. The average modern person eats fewer than 15, 40 to 60, versus fewer than 15. This gap may be the single most important number in this video. And closing it doesn't require medieval farming. It requires intention. 4 pillars. Now let's make this practical. The medieval Echo's gut reset protocol, based directly on monastery records and validated by modern research. Morning before breakfast, steep 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds in hot water for 8 minutes. Drink before eating. This prepares digestive enzyme production and sets the gut's motility for the day. With each meal, include 1 fermented food, 1 portion of yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, aged cheese, or kombucha. 3 meals means 3 portions, matching both the medieval daily prescription and the 2024 clinical study dosage. After your largest meal, artichoke leaf extract, 300 to 600 milligrams of standardized extract, or artichoke leaf tea, steeped 10 minutes. This supports bile production and fat digestion when it is needed most. Meal timing. Eat within a 10-hour window. If your first meal is at 8 in the morning, your last meal is at 6 in the evening. Protect the overnight fasting window. This is when gut repair happens. Food diversity. Add 2 new plant foods per week until you reach 30 different plants per week minimum. Not all at once, just 2 per week. In 15 weeks, you will have doubled your dietary diversity. That is the protocol. 5 components. Completely achievable. Grounded in 800 years of observed outcomes and confirmed by modern clinical research. The monks didn't call it a gut reset. They called it eating correctly. The distinction is smaller than you might think. 4 videos. 4 complete protocols. Anxiety, sleep, gut health, and now inflammation is next. the silent condition that modern medicine links to almost every chronic disease, heart disease, diabetes, depression, even cancer. Medieval healers had a name for it. They called it the fire within. And they had a remedy that is currently being studied by pharmaceutical companies who cannot patent it. If you've tried any of the protocols from our previous videos, drop your experience in the comments. These reports directly shape which remedies we research next. If this is your first video, go back and start from the beginning. 4 videos and 4 protocols, each one building on the last. Subscribe if you haven't. 1 remedy. 1 week. Every time. The knowledge was never lost. It was just waiting. I'll see you next week.